Coach, can you just tell us, how this game came about? Is it going to be a series with the home and home? And then what do you take away from a game like this for your team coming down to Knoxville?
Sure. Well, coming out of the SoCon, a lot of people don't know this, but we only have 8 women's basketball teams, so that's 15 non-conference games. And so obviously in that non-conference scheduling, you're looking for some Power 4 guarantee games. And so Tennessee paid us to come here. This is not a home and home. And I think in the takeaways, going into this game, we talked about, the small wins, winning possessions. Our goal was to win by our definition, which I don't have to get into all that, but by our definition of winning a possession, 70%. And we calculated we were about 56%, so we didn't reach that goal. And there were some non-negotiables we had in there and what we were trying to do. I do see some positives. Obviously I'm going off field, watching the film, I'll have a better idea, but I certainly thought our second half was much better. We're pretty athletic, pretty quick, and when on misses, if you can get them to miss and rebound, I thought we had some really good offensive looks. Some went down. Obviously we scored 17 and 16 points in the third and fourth quarter, respectively. So I think there's a lot of good to take away, and then there's a lot to work on. You don't want to not look at the things that didn't go well and just say those just happened because they were taller, or they were bigger. You've got to look at the technical piece of it too. So in these situations, the kids know we watch film, we learn, we grow, and that's our mission coming in. That's our mission going out, and get ready for the next opponent.
Your team out rebounded Tennessee for most of the game until kind of the last half of the fourth quarter. Just what did you see that allowed you guys to be so successful, and how was that kind of a goal for you guys coming in?
We did, of course. We had the bubble on. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, when you put a lid on the rim, and we had our scout guys really all 5 to the glass rebounding. We only had a couple days prep to do that, and of course you got to be mindful of their bodies and such, but we were getting after it. We had a little medicine ball on the side, and we'll probably just keep that there. And there's some other things we're trying to work on from our other game, not just to prepare for Tennessee, but at this point in the season, but grow. But we were keeping track of that. That's a good observation. I'm proud of that. They shot the ball fairly well, but still I thought there were some moments where we really did fight and matched their physicality. So certainly proud of that aspect.
For both coach and player, what is the biggest challenge with Tennessee? Not so much the style of play, but just the size and length that they present right now. You're probably not going to see that kind of length going forward, and just, like you said, y'all did some good things.
We did. I'll go first, and then you can think about it. I'm going to talk about their press. We actually, and no one got to see it tonight, but we actually are 55 on makes as well. We just didn't think it wise to press Tennessee because of their athleticism. But I think that press over time, with your point guards, with your backcourt, having to make adjustments, it obviously it takes a lot of energy for them to do it, and it wears them down, but it really wears your opponent down. You have to spend a good amount of time to prepare for their press. Now she's got, the size and the athleticism and the bodies to rotate in and out. So I would say that. There's more things I could say to answer that question, but I would say preparing for the press, and that's what they've really got going for them. It's a unique style of play for almost 40 minutes.
I would definitely say their athleticism. For me, I'm a little undersized as a guard. And so just having to learn how to, use my abilities to kind of work around that, because they're long, they're lanky, and so it's a little difficult, but we really practice a lot of running against their press offense. And I know we have some other smaller guards, but I feel like they could say the same too about, just them being big and long. I feel like at the beginning of the game, it kind of a little shocked to us a little bit, but once we settled and kind of remembered where we were at, I think it kind of worked out and worked good for us.
Brenda, just what does playing games like this against opponents like this do to help you when you get into that conference play and hopefully winning the conference?
That's a great question. I've been a mid-major coach. I guess now this is my 12th year. I was at UNC Asheville for 8 years, and we actually came over here, I think it was 2018, maybe somewhere in there, and played them when Holly Warlick was a coach. But I think that's a tough question, because we all want to say we're playing these opponents to get ready for SoCon play, but we won't, like you said, we won't face that. And so I think we have to be careful. I don't regret playing this game, but I do think you have to be careful about what situations you put your team in. you need to be able to get those wins. And I say, again, looking at this, I wasn't exactly happy, but I do see that there's some gain. I've been in some situations, I'll be honest, my first game at ETSU was against South Carolina, their ring ceremony 3 years ago. I'd just gotten hired in August of 22, and it was, that was my first game as the ETSU head coach, and we got beat by 70. In that situation, I don't know that there was anything to gain from that. It's really that you just kind of take your check and go on. But certainly we know common things like we won't face that kind of athleticism or size unless we make it to the NCAA. So I do think, again, if you can get your kids to lock in, so let's think about that intangible, if you can get them to lock in while they're getting beat and actually execute some plays, that's where the goal is. And I do think we did that. I don't think I lost anybody in the timeouts. I don't think anybody quit. We looked fatigued, but I didn't see anything like downtrodden or like, oh, I wish this game were over. I still saw our kids, for the most part, trying to execute offensively and defensively. So for me, that's what you gain out of it. Is getting a little bit tougher mentally, because winning the game is going to be really difficult. All right, thank you guys.